Hello friends, my name is Vandrel, and today I want to talk about provisional tokens. If you're anything like me, you might have started hoarding these a bit late. When I personally started, I only got about 3 per day because I thought there'd be much more work involved than there actually is. Before I dive into my methods, let's take a look at why you want to start accumulating these, and probably sooner rather than later. These tokens are the only way to get gifts of craftsmanship. You need 50 tokens for one gift, and you'll need one gift for each piece of legendary raid armor, each legendary rune, and each legendary sigil you might want to craft. That means that for each armor weight you need 300 tokens for the whole set, which is 900 total if you want to make all 3 weight classes. Each legendary rune costs another 50 tokens, which adds up to a total of 350 more. And you guessed it, each legendary sigil is gonna cost you another 50 tokens too. That means you need another 200 for your 2 weapon sets, or 400 total if you want to also finish them for your underwater weapons. And even if you don't plan on crafting any of the legendary gear mentioned above, you can trade 10 of these in for a bloodbound weapon. This is the ideal leveling weapon. You can select any stat prefix with these, and the weapon's power increases with your character level. And even if you don't care about those, each token is worth about 4.3 silver if you trade them in for crafter supply bags. Looking back at how many we need for the legendary components, my 3 tokens per day would have presented me with a huge issue. I would need literal years to finish my armors, runes and sigils. So I set out to research how I could get more tokens per day and how to do it as cheaply as possible. I already knew about the 3 trade-ins that were worth doing in Lion's Arch and the Black Citadel. For me these were obsidian shards, globs of ectoplasm and a mystic forge stone. I only chose the mystic forge stone because I already have a silver fed salvage-o-matic. If you don't have that tool yet, hang on to the mystic forge stones. I'll explain why in another video. There's more options in both cities, as well as in Ratasum, Hulbrak, the Grove and Divinity's Reach. But unless you're made out of gold, you want to ignore those. These will kill your bank account faster than Anet likes nerfing Elementalists. Another account bound trade can be done in the Heart of Thorns zones. You can trade in a reclaimed metal plate in Verdant Brink, an Auric ingot in Auric Basin, and a Chakek in Tangled Depths. Before you do this, however, make sure you don't need these for other collections. You need 30 of these per legendary raid armor as well, and these are also currency for the Heart of Thorn weapon sets related to their respective maps. Now, before I dive into the crafting bit, if you're already raiding, you can also get 2 tokens per challenge mode boss you manage to clear each week. This is a nice extra avenue that can yield up to 26 tokens per week. If raids look impossible to start right now because you mostly play solo or the LFG looks very daunting, don't worry too much about that. I am currently working on a video where I explain how I got started raiding by only getting 3 bosses cleared per week, to full clears in pugs, to finding a fun welcoming group. I know the struggle of getting started all too well, and I hope my insights will be able to help you on your way too. Now let's get back to our tokens. The only trade method I neglected so far to mention is crafting crate weapons. You can trade in 12 weapons per day, but we're gonna start by eliminating 3 from our list, as these are way too expensive to be doing daily. So that is going to leave us with 9 weapons, as well as the extra tokens you might want to trade in from the methods I mentioned above. If you want to go for the truly lazy option, you can buy all these weapons from the trading post and spend around 3.5 gold per day. But we can do it for about 2 gold by crafting them ourselves. There is also a very likely possibility you already have all of the materials, and even if not, they're so easy to farm that you won't really need to spend gold if you don't want to. You will need a character with 400 weaponsmithing. I highly recommend following the guide on gw2crafts.com if you're leveling your crafting professions. They have an amazing tool to let you level up your professions either as cheaply as possible or as fast as possible. Now, to craft our 9 weapons, we're gonna need the following materials. You'll need 138 elderwood logs, which you'll craft into elderwood planks, 170 mithril ore, which you'll make into mithril ingots. You will also need 15 or 30 of most tier 5 materials, depending on which prefixes we will be making. I will leave the whole shopping list in the description of this video, so you have an easy way to copy and paste this into the trading post search window. Once you've done your shopping or farming, it's time to assemble our weapons. I try to make this process as painless as possible for myself, so I usually make all the intermediary components first. If you haven't done so yet, make all your elderwood logs into planks and all your mithril ore into ingots. And once that's done, you want to make 18 mithril plated dowels. Once you've got those dowels, you'll need to make 9 mithril imbued inscriptions. You'll want 1 Assassin's, which uses the large claws we bought, 1 Berserker, which uses the vials of potent blood, 2 Carrions, which uses the large bones, 1 Clerics, which uses the intricate totems, 1 Knight, which uses the large scales, 1 Rampagers with potent venom sacs, and finally 2 Valkyries made with large fangs. And the last intermediary components we're going to be making are the individual weapon pieces. Start off by making 2 mithril axe blades, then 1 mithril greatsword blades and 1 hilt, 2 mithril hammerheads, 1 mithril mace head. Then you want to make 2 mithril shield backings and 2 mithril shield bosses before ending with a mithril sword blade and hilt. Now, before we assemble these weapons, you'll also need to make 2 large elder hafts and 3 small elder hafts with the remaining elderwood planks. If this is your first time crafting this on a new character, you'll need to discover the recipes first. Once you've done this once, they'll appear in your crafting list and you can simply search for them at the station going forward. So let's get on to this final step and start off by making a Carrion Crate Battle Axe and a Rampager's Crate Battle Axe. You can do so by combining the respective inscriptions with an axe blade and a small elder haft. Next, combine a Carrion inscription with your greatsword blade and hilt. Then it's time for our Clerics and Knights Crate Warhammers. You make both of these by combining the respective inscriptions once more with a hammerhead and a large elder haft. Once those are taken care of, we'll be making our Valkyrie Crate Morningstar by combining that inscription with a mace head and a small elder haft. Now for the penultimate step, we'll be combining a Berserker's and Valkyrie's inscription with a shield backing and a shield boss to make 2 shields. And finally, if you've done everything correctly, you'll have 1 Assassin's inscription left over, which needs to be combined with a sword blade and hilt. As mentioned, you only need to go through this discovery phase once per character. Going forward, simply type the keywords crate in the weaponsmithing search box and select the appropriate weapons. And all that is left now is visiting the 5 faction provisioners to trade in our items for tokens. I will leave a list of all the waypoints in the description of the video as well, so you don't have to go looking for them. And that about wraps up this video. Crafting these every day allowed me to get more than 10 tokens per day at a minimal cost instead of the usual 3. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below. If you liked it, please like this video, and your subscription would mean the world to me.